From humble beginnings to quietly impressing thousands of sim racers to becoming immortalised as a legend of sim racing that will go down in history forever. But enough about me, I'm talking about the Fanatec McLaren GT3 wheel, which as I speak has just been discontinued by Fanatec. You can no longer basically buy this wheel. And I don't think this is a good thing for sim racing. In fact, I think it's worth talking about, which is what I'm going to do in this video, because if you don't remember, this wheel came out originally in the V1 in about 2017. It was a replica of the McLaren 650S and it was about $170, and that was incredible. It had the exact same look pretty much. The shifters were not as good and it didn't have the same screen, but it was absolutely crazy that in sim racing we could get something like this for that price, which at the time was kind of seen as expensive for a console thing because the competitors were all belt and gear driven wheels really. Even Fanatec was using like the CSL Elite belt driven wheel and the Club Sport, etc. Then in 2020, late 2020, Fanatec basically fixed the issues with this wheel, added this bar shifter that continues to divide opinion, but I've always really liked it. I love this bar shifter. It has a really nice feel, magnetic, and also updated the LED as well. And it was $199 and 199 euros. And that was incredible. And that made it accessible. Like, yes, it's still a lot of money, but it made it accessible. And I went out and I bought one of these with my own money. And I also bought a Fanatec P1 WRC wheel. And this one I used 99% more. This wheel I used to basically become a hardcore sim racer. I won Gran Turismo races in top split with this wheel. I won iRacing special events in this wheel. I did multiple 24-hour races in this wheel. This wheel was my trusty companion for hardcore sim racing, and it was under $200. Now there are some compromises with that which we'll talk about, and the competition has changed both at Fanatec and also externally. Now when it comes to the compromises, let's not beat around the bush. The QR system this wheel has, which is now what I think is called the QR1 Lite, is not a great system. It's kind of composite-y, it's not a nice quick release, and it didn't inspire confidence. It does feel like it has some slip in it. However, that's why this wheel was able to be sub $200. Like, let's not pretend otherwise. It's because of this. And I believe this wheel recently, with the upgraded QRs that you can get on it, has gone above $300. So this wheel no longer was, in terms of the newer QRs, the price champion it once was. Now what happened is very soon after release, we started seeing big competition for this wheel. Mainly, I would say, the Moza KS wheel, which I've reviewed, used a lot on the channel, about $280, and the Simagic GT Neo, also about $280. Those are wheels that are GT beastly wheels that can be daily drivers. They have the great form factor, lots of rotaries, encoders. However, worth bearing in mind, neither of those two wheels have an LED screen like the Fanatec has, which is quite interesting. But they were big competitors and they took market share away from Fanatec. But this one had the official licensing. This was a McLaren wheel. I don't think this is a wheel where the branding really hurt the product, by the way. I think this is a wheel where the branding really helped the product because it is that replica. Now, what's Fanatec going to do now? Fanatec is, I basically think it's going to replace this with the Porsche CSL VGT wheel. Already we start to see some bundles coming out with this wheel. Now, if you didn't know, I write and release a sim racing show on this channel that I've been doing for well over a year now, 66 episodes in. And as part of that research, I've been checking from time to time the bundles on Fanatec, and this wheel has been out of stock for long periods. There's also been cases of people trying to add this wheel to their basket and then they can't check out for some reason. So I've known the writing is going to be on the wall, and I've mentioned this in the sim racing show if you've been following, and I really do believe they're going to replace it essentially with this Porsche wheel. Now this is not a like-for-like wheel because this wheel compromised an awful lot to hit that price point. This wheel is not doing as much compromise. I feel like the licensing perspective has been quite different from McLaren back in the day and Porsche now. This new Tactaris material will be expensive. The way they've done the badge, that is basically exactly how it looks in a Porsche car when you're sat there, is going to be expensive as well. We've gone from this cheap and cheerful QR on the McLaren to a beastly, cheap-ish, but not really cheap, not really cheerful, it's massive QR2 light on the Porsche wheel which still divides opinion. People saying I still don't like the QR on it. But if you don't like the QR on it, that's again trying to keep the price down. We've lost the bar shifters and we've maintained a kind of small screen here, like a little OLED screen. But this wheel is more expensive. There's no two ways about it. This wheel is well above $350. It's never ever going to be under $200. So that pathway, that accessibility has been closed off. And if you're someone like I was in 2020 when I had $200 and I was thinking, what wheel am I going to get? You can no longer get this. And I wonder if that's going to start to push people to wheels like this, which is just, this wheel is kind of ludicrously priced. The pricing doesn't include sales tax though, so you can see my review on it. But this wheel actually has a proper screen on it. It has clutch paddles. It has magnetic shifters. It has a QR. And the pricing is just ridiculous. That is what Fanatec is coming up against now. And I really do wonder if by losing this wheel from the Fanatec ecosystem, they are actually going to lose new sim racers, not the right word, but sim racers who are on the upgrade path are no longer going to continue upgrading with Fanatec. And that's such a shame. And we don't know what's happened here behind the scenes. It could be that the license has expired. It could be that it's just not profitable to make this wheel. It could be that there are some issues with this wheel. I haven't come across them. There could be many reasons, but I think it's a shame. And I think this wheel should be celebrated because there's many of us in the community who have either, let's be honest, either used this wheel or watch YouTubers like myself or other YouTubers using this wheel to do cool things on YouTube and have great races and great memories. So this is a sim racing legendary wheel. Like, this should go in the Hall of Fame. And I want to take this video to do an announcement because I am going to be doing sim racing awards and I'm going to be presenting them to the brands in person. So keep an eye out for that on this channel. But what I want you to do in the comments is let me know your categories for sim racing awards. Stuff like best budget wheel of the year. What should the price range be? Best pedals of the year. Most innovative brand. These sort of categories. Let me know what they are in the comments because I think if we were doing a Hall of Fame this year, which we probably will do, I think this McLaren GT3 V2 should definitely be in the Hall of Fame.